For centuries, a mystery was hidden within the oldest texts of humanity, a secret code, written by the wisest man who ever lived, King Solomon. His words crossed generations, appearing as simple advice but loaded with deep ancestral wisdom. Many read it, few understood. It was only thousands of years later that Napoleon Hill finally decoded what was hidden. This video is not about religion or ancient history, but about the invisible laws that govern true prosperity. It is about the power of thought, faith as a creative force, and discipline as the path to success. Prepare yourself to dive into a revelation that can change the way you think, act, and exist. Today, Solomon's Code will be revealed not as a myth, but as a living, practical, and transformative truth. There are secrets that cross millennia, hidden in plain sight. One of them was left by the wisest man who ever walked this earth, King Solomon, written in symbols, metaphors, and ancient verses. This secret code was lost over time until a 20th century man named Napoleon Hill deciphered it, turning it into a practical key to unlock true spiritual and material wealth. What connects these two names? The same mystery, the hidden wisdom that governs prosperity with purpose. This wisdom is not found in economics, books, or elite schools. It lies in the margins of ancient teachings, in the whispers of the timeless wisdom that shaped empires and built kingdoms. Solomon said everything begins in the mind. Centuries later, Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve." Two men, two times, one principle. The power of thought, mental discipline, and unwavering faith as catalysts for an extraordinary life. An invisible thread connects these worlds, and it is about to be pulled. What is about to be revealed is not just theory. It is a compass for those who seek wealth with purpose, emotional control, self-mastery, and a deeper connection with existence. What you were never told is about to emerge from the silence of the ages. Before we continue this journey of awakening and discovery, like this video, share it with those who need to hear this message, and comment below. Are you ready to decode Solomon's lost code? Solomon was not just a king. He was a living symbol of what many today call the millionaire mindset, but in a much deeper and more connected form. Son of David, heir to a throne and a spiritual covenant, his fame spread across continents. He ruled with practical wisdom, refined by sharp intuition and divine intelligence that made even foreign kings travel just to hear him speak. His name became synonymous with discernment, justice, and prosperity. It is said he asked God for only one thing: wisdom to govern justly. He did not ask for gold, glory, or power. Because of this, he received everything, including what he did not ask for. This request revealed the true foundation of his greatness. He knew everything begins in the mind and spirit. It is no coincidence that judgments, like the one involving two mothers disputing a baby, became eternal. Solomon saw what the eyes could not. He was guided by an inner wisdom, a powerful invisible code. His wealth was immense, his influence global. But what set him apart was not the throne, it was the mind. He understood that visible success is the result of invisible forces, which connected him directly to the teachings Napoleon Hill would bring centuries later. Both saw applied wisdom as the key to accessing what seemed impossible. If you think all this is beyond your reach, it may be because you have not yet understood what the secret code really is. What Solomon left behind was not a literal map, but a set of truths encoded in proverbs, metaphors, and deep reflections hidden in the books of Ecclesiastes and Proverbs. This secret code does not give direct answers. It activates the right questions. It is as if each word were a mirror reflecting truths that only those ready can see. These are universal laws revealed in seemingly simple phrases, but carrying within them the master key to a life of prosperity and purpose. When he said, "The heart of the wise inclines to discernment," it was not just ethical advice, but a hidden instruction about self-mastery and emotional control. By stating that life and death are in the power of the tongue, Solomon was not only talking about words, but about the creative force of thought and speech. Exactly what Napoleon Hill explored as the power of autosuggestion in Think and Grow Rich, an ancient teaching finally understood by those who dared to think beyond appearances. Asterisk, this code is present in pages many have already skimmed, but few have truly deciphered. It speaks about mental discipline, practical wisdom, spiritual influence, and, above all, about aligning the mind with purpose. It is not a ready-made formula, but a living structure shaped by conscious choices. This very structure, Napoleon Hill recognized when he wrote about the laws of success. He realized the secret was not hidden, but simply concealed in the simple words of an ancient king. For Solomon, true wealth was not the accumulated gold, but the wisdom that led him to it. In his Proverbs, he said, "Wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things you may desire cannot compare with her." This phrase reveals a powerful principle. The external is always a consequence of the internal. Solomon's wisdom was not theoretical. It was a living force, a compass always pointing toward prosperity with wisdom and purpose. This is where many get lost trying to harvest fruit without first cultivating roots. In this context, wisdom was a divine intelligence, an ability to perceive beyond the obvious. Napoleon Hill understood this when he said that every achievement begins with an idea, but only flourishes with mental discipline and unwavering faith. Prosperity, then, was no accident, but a natural reaction of a well-governed mind. Solomon knew, "The man who masters himself rules any kingdom." That is why he did not seek ready answers, but deep questions, because those who ask the right questions build great answers. The connection between spiritual wealth and material abundance was clear. To both, no fortune lasts without purpose. No success persists without vision. Solomon saw wisdom as an inheritance no one can steal. And Hill, centuries later, said the same when teaching that thought. When directed with clarity and emotion, shapes destiny. Everything that would be revealed in Think and Grow Rich was already there, just hidden for centuries, waiting for attentive eyes to uncover it. Asterisk, Solomon taught that life is built with wisdom, established with understanding, and enriched with knowledge. He warned of the power of words, the value of diligent work, and the danger of a lazy heart. For him, life was a field for spiritual and practical construction, exactly as Napoleon Hill would reveal later. Hill said, "Without mental discipline, without deliberate action, faith is dead." Both knew that unwavering faith without action is merely desire, and action without direction is waste. One of the most recurrent themes in their writings is control of the tongue. Even a fool is considered wise when he keeps silent. Solomon said this echoes Hill's principle about self-mastery and conscious use of words to shape destiny. Words are not just seeds of reality. Speaking with purpose is a forgotten art that, when practiced, can move mountains. A practical example, instead of complaining about life, the wise declare what they want to live and shape their world from there. Moreover, both masters agreed that work done with intention and diligence multiplies results. Solomon exalted the work of the ant. Hill said, "Persistent action turns dreams into reality." They did not promise easy miracles, but fair harvests according to the quality of the seed. The difference is that while many expect external changes, these two pointed inward. When the mind changes, reality must obey. As Solomon stated, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." This phrase is more than poetry. It is a subtle but immutable universal law. He knew that the outer world is only a mirror of what resides within us. Centuries later, Napoleon Hill wrote something similar. "You become what you think about most of the time." Two men from distant times speaking the same language. The power of thought as a creative force, destiny builder, and reality shaper. This ancient law, ignored by many, is the foundation of everything that truly transforms. Hill did not invent the idea of creative thought. He deciphered it exactly as Solomon expressed it, with simple yet profound words. If you believe in scarcity, scarcity is what you create. If you cultivate thoughts of abundance with faith and clarity, reality responds. This is not magic, it is alignment, and those who have applied it know Small changes in mindset lead to great changes in life. This law demands mental discipline, focus, and repetition. It is not about thinking once and expecting miracles. It requires thinking with intention, feeling, and conviction. Solomon said, "A cheerful heart makes a face glad," as if he understood that the world responds to the inner state of being. Napoleon Hill would call this the emotional vibration of thought. What both knew but few understand is that the life you live is shaped by the life you think. And this thought needs silence to strengthen. Solomon understood that true power rarely makes noise. He said, "Even a fool, when he keeps silent, is considered wise." This was not merely a recommendation of etiquette, but a deep teaching about emotional control and spiritual intelligence. Silence is not the absence of speech, but the presence of discernment. Hill also taught that those who master themselves avoid speaking too much because they know each word carries the weight of a choice. And every choice builds or destroys. The noise of haste, comparison, and others' opinions obscures the most important voice, intuition, taught to listen more than speak, to observe before reacting. Hill explained that success comes from a mind trained to notice what most ignore. A practical example: in meetings, while everyone talks, the wise observe, speak last, and when they speak, they change the course of the conversation. This is the power of silent discernment, which Solomon called prudence and Hill refined as self-mastery. It is in silence that one hears what truly matters. When the mind calms, spiritual influence can be perceived. Solomon and Hill knew that speaking without thinking is like planting without knowing the season. Silence is the space where practical wisdom forms, guiding actions with precision. Those who understand this do not react impulsively, they act with purpose. And by acting with purpose, they awaken the vision that transforms the invisible into reality. Without vision, the people perish. This phrase from Solomon is not just a social observation, it is a spiritual law. The absence of vision leads to deviation, dispersion, and loss of meaning. He knew life needs direction, a defined purpose that guides decisions, steps, and thoughts. Napoleon Hill gave this a modern definition of purpose: the absolute certainty of where you want to go, even when everything around doubts. Purpose is the axis that aligns mind, emotion, and action. A man without purpose is like a ship adrift. Any wind serves, but none takes him anywhere. Living without direction wastes too much energy on what does not matter. Hill said that without clear purpose, failure is inevitable. Solomon knew this long before, warning that the wise keep their eyes on the goal, while fools get distracted by everything around. Having vision is not just imagining something beautiful. It is seeing with the eyes of the spirit, feeling the future with the soul before it even exists. Solomon called this prudence. Hill called it faith applied to a goal. For those who want to live with wealth and purpose, this is the starting point. When purpose becomes an inner fire, every step aligns, every obstacle transforms, and every thought bends to the right direction. Even fear has no power. Solomon knew that the spirit of man is his driving force. He said, "The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in the Lord shall be safe." Behind this simplicity lies a profound principle. Fear paralyzes, faith liberates. For him, fear was like a fog that blocks clear vision, subtle, invisible, yet powerful poison. Napoleon Hill also saw fear as the greatest enemy of the creative mind. In his words, faith and fear cannot occupy the same space. Hill spoke about 6 basic fears, all causes of failure. But it is not just about eliminating fear by reason. Both Solomon and Hill taught that fear must be replaced by faith, a living, active faith, driven by purpose. Fear weakens vision, distorts reality, and makes man accept less than he deserves. Faith, on the other hand, clears, energizes, and connects. A simple example: those who fear do not try. Those who believe act even with doubts in their pockets. This invisible spiritual influence is the turning point between an automatic life and an intentional life. Solomon knew well the power of intuition and discernment, gifts that only flourish when fear is silenced. Hill called this alliance with infinite intelligence. It is at this point that success stops being merely an external goal and becomes an expression of the spirit aligned with its greater purpose. Solomon advised, "Go to the ant, consider her ways, and be wise." He did not romanticize work, but saw it as the practical expression of applied wisdom. For him, prosperity was not a miracle or coincidence, but a consequence. The ant is neither strong nor fast, but it is disciplined. Napoleon Hill said the same in different words. Without self-discipline, the mind sabotages itself, plans dissolve, and dreams turn to dust. Mental discipline is what transforms intention into achievement. Both taught that diligence, continuous, consistent, and silent effort builds wealth on solid foundations. Having good ideas or strong faith is not enough. It is necessary to turn these into routine action and habit. Hill showed that history's greatest figures from Ford to Edison had not only vision but persistence. Solomon anticipated this in his Proverbs about the value of well-directed effort. A farmer knows that you cannot plant one day and harvest the next. But those who plant right always reap. The problem is that many want the fruit without cultivating the root. They seek shortcuts and magic formulas without understanding that true success is born from an alliance between thought and action. Solomon and Hill agreed, "Time rewards those who persevere. Wealth with purpose is born where vision, faith, and diligence unite. And believe me, this triad only flourishes in well-governed internal environments where even the company around makes a difference." Solomon, with his refined vision of the human soul, warned, "He who walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffers harm." This warning was not merely moral. It was a law of life. Bad company not only influences but shapes invisibly, gradually, and silently. Napoleon Hill said the same clearly, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." The spiritual and mental influence of the environment is one of the most decisive factors in creating reality. The circle around you can lift or destroy you. A doubting friend, a scornful relative, a toxic environmental. This affects thought, and, with it, destiny. Hill called these mental alliances that can either push you forward or drag you down without you realizing it. Solomon saw the wise as one who carefully chooses whom to listen to and walk with. A practical example, when someone decides to change their life but remains surrounded by those who feed the same patterns, change is sabotaged at its root. Therefore, both Hill and Solomon taught that wisdom is also knowing how to say no. No to the company that pulls you away from your purpose. No to the voice that weakens your faith. No to the collective habit that distances you from the truth. Sometimes true transformation begins with silence and distance. And when this choice is made, something opens inside a clean space where higher wisdom can finally guide your steps. ****. Solomon never confused wisdom with mere intelligence. While intelligence analyzes, calculates, and compares, Solomon's wisdom listens to the invisible, perceives what is behind, and senses before speaking. It was a spiritual gift, a sharp intuition coming from a source beyond common logic. Napoleon Hill described this same force as infinite intelligence, a subtle channel of inspiration activated when the mind is calm, receptive, and aligned with purpose. This kind of wisdom cannot be learned from books alone. It requires inner silence, faith, and a deep respect for the invisible. Hill said that great inventors and visionaries did not create alone. They connected with something higher. Similarly, Solomon, when judging cases and ruling kingdoms, did not rely on human strategies but on spiritual discernment. Making decisions this way demands serene courage and trust that what comes from within is more reliable than the loudest external voice. This wisdom, which transforms ordinary choices into extraordinary paths, is not about knowing everything but about sensing what is right. It is as if an inner compass begins to point, even amid chaos. Hill called this the sixth sense. Solomon called it the fear of the Lord, not as fear, but as reverence for the source of all wisdom. When this force begins to guide your decisions, everything around you starts to rearrange in surprising ways. Napoleon Hill spent over 20 years investigating the minds of the most successful men of his time. What he discovered was not a set of modern techniques, but eternal principles, many already written by Solomon thousands of years earlier. Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Andrew Carnegie, and others used elements of this ancient code, even without knowing it, to find purpose. Unwavering faith, self-discipline, and a deep conviction that the mind creates reality. Hill organized this knowledge in works like Think and Grow Rich and The Laws of Success. But at heart, he merely translated the hidden into the practical. He understood that the universal laws of prosperity do not change over time. They only need to be decoded by each generation. When he taught that thought, combined with emotion, produces concrete results. He echoed Solomon's words, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." These principles have transformed the lives of millions who applied these ideas consistently, completely reshaping their realities. Asterisk, in this context, the millionaire mindset is not just about money, but about clarity, courage, and deep connection with one's own essence. Napoleon Hill did not sell shortcuts. He delivered a master key, and now this key is back in the hands of those who seek more than success: a life with meaning. The modern world is fast, noisy, and full of distractions. Yet, Solomon's code, far from being outdated, may never have been more necessary. Applying it today means relearning how to live intentionally, choosing thoughts with the same seriousness as choosing food, cultivating silence amid noise, and directing attention toward what builds, not what consumes. This is a spiritual practice, disguised as ordinary life, ancient wisdom in the rhythm of now. You can apply this code by defining your purpose clearly and writing your goals with intention. Use it to observe your thoughts and filter your words as someone who knows that every word creates the future. You can apply it by getting up every day with discipline, even when no one is watching. Listening to intuition before yielding to fear, that is living with self-mastery with spiritual wealth. With eyes fixed on what Solomon called truth and Hill called conscious success. This application demands more than desire. It requires a daily, almost silent choice not to live like everyone else, not to accept the automatic, to have the courage to build a life based on invisible but immutable laws. The code is not a magic formula, but a structure of principles that transforms any reality as long as it is practiced with patience, persistence, and unwavering faith. In the end, true change begins with the decision to be different inside. You are not facing just another content. You are facing a millennial legacy. Finally understood. With the power to transform your life inside and out, asterisk, what Solomon lived and Napoleon Hill translated is not a theory, but a path. A path that begins in the mind, descends to the heart, and manifests in actions, decisions, and choices. Now the secret code is before you. The question is simple: will you use it or let it pass? Nothing changes outside while everything stays the same inside. The time for excuses is over. The time for comparisons too. You already have the essentials: a thinking mind, a feeling spirit, and a master key that can open doors you never imagined existed. But this key only works in the hands of those who have the courage to take the first step with faith, even if they don't yet see the whole path. Wisdom does not show the end. It guides every step at the right time. If this message made sense to you, like this video now, share it with those who need this truth, and subscribe to the channel. The world needs people who live with purpose, think clearly, and act consciously. If you have made it this far, it's because you already feel that something inside you is ready to awaken. Remember, the greatest secret in history is in the hands of those who have eyes to see and ears to hear. And now, it is in yours. Solomon's wisdom was not meant to be admired. It was meant to be lived. Napoleon Hill understood that true success is not a destination, but a state of consciousness where every thought, word, and choice shapes the world around you. You already have the master key. Now, it needs to be used with intention. It is not about knowing more, but about feeling deeply and acting with purpose from now on. Transformation is in your hands. Cultivate silence where there is noise. Choose discernment where there is doubt. Plant noble thoughts and your reality will be noble. To dot true wealth is not what you possess, but what you deeply understand. You have already started this path. By being here, wisdom only reveals itself to those ready to hear it, and you have listened. If this message touched you, comment below with the phrase, "I choose to live with wisdom." Like the video, share with those who need this truth, and subscribe to the channel to continue this journey. You are not alone, you are awake.